break it down. The 2025 Men's College World Series. Here are our 8 teams. Now, how this works, let me bring myself on screen here. How this works is this. All right, you have 4 teams on the left, you have 4 teams on the right. All right, the 4 teams on the left side of the bracket, Louisville, Oregon State, Arizona, Coastal Carolina. Those 4 will play a double elimination tournament to determine who wins essentially the left side of the bracket and makes it to the middle here, the championship series. The 4 teams on the right will also do the same thing. So teams on the left, teams on the right will not play each other unless they're in the championship series, which is a best of 2 of 3. So essentially, if you've been following along the entire college baseball postseason, all right, you remember there were regionals, super regionals, and the College World Series. Well, the College World Series is essentially another regional, 4 teams on the left, and a regional, 4 teams on the right, double elimination, and then a super regional to win it. The title series being 2 teams next weekend in a best 2 of 3 series, right? So it's just regional, super regional, regional, super regional. That is how it is played out. So let's jump into it and how we think that it is going to play. So like I said, Louisville, Oregon State, they'll play in game 1. Arizona, Coastal Carolina, they play in game 2. The winner of Louisville, Oregon State will play the winner of Arizona, Coastal Carolina. And then the losers will also play each other, that being an elimination game because double elimination and you are out. So winning in game 1 is unbelievably, incredibly important. Okay? Not that you can't win it after losing, but it's incredibly important. All right. So let's dive into it. How do we see this playing out? So, number 1, remember, Charles Schwab Field, all right, this is an actual picture of it, is a massive ballpark. We'll go over weather every single day of both the tournament and the College World Series final, of where the wind's blowing, et cetera, et cetera. All right, don't worry about that. We'll do it every single day. On Driving the Line, 10 a.m. Eastern, make sure to be there live. But just understand that this park where all the games now will be played, the same park, all right, it's huge. It's a major league field. The outfield is massive, as you can see. And a lot of times you have the wind blowing in, all right? Doesn't mean it always is, but just understand that this is a big boy MLB park. It is hard to get home runs out of there. You'll see runs, don't get me wrong, but teams that are fully dependent on home runs, it can be tough. All right, so let's walk through. On the left side, all right, again, you see it, Louisville, Oregon State, Arizona, Coastal Carolina. All right, so the left-hand side here. Let's break it down. Who are these teams? How'd they get here? What do we need to know? Louisville, 40-22 record on the year, 7.9 runs per game on average this season. Allow 5.9 runs per game this season and a team ERA of 5.38. So these stats are all built upon what we've seen all year from said teams. Oregon State, 47-14, 7.6 runs per game, 4.6 runs per game allowed, team ERA of 4.33. Arizona, all right, remember, Louisville, Oregon State, they'll play against each other. Arizona and Coastal, they'll play against each other. Arizona, 44-19, 9.8 runs per game. All right, they've gotten here through hitting. All right, they allow 6.6 runs per game, the most in this set of 4 teams here, and a team ERA, not bad, of 4.88. But they score runs, they give up runs. That's been their style. Coastal Carolina, complete opposite, 53-11. Now, they'll score runs, 7.5 runs per game on average this year. But look at the allowed, only 3.5. And a team ERA of 3.26. That is why Coastal Carolina is here. Like, if you're wanting to understand all 4 of these teams, here's who it is. Louisville, very consistent baseball team. All right. They're consistent. They can hit. They can pitch. They don't overwhelm you with talent on either side of that, but they can. They're just a really good baseball team that doesn't beat themselves. Oregon State is an even better version of that, and they can pitch. Oregon State has pitching. They have starting pitchers. Their bullpen can get a little wild at times, but Oregon State has pitching. And, you look at the runs per game and the runs per game allowed. on average for each team. Louisville games out of 62 baseball games, 40 times, right? Louisville won basically 8-6. You know what I mean? Like, that's how you kind of look at it there. Oregon State, 7.5 runs per game, only 4.6. This is a very good baseball team. Oregon State, if they beat Louisville on Friday, is going to be very difficult to handle. Arizona, we talked about it. This is a team that can hit. They're built on hitting. Can it continue? Can it continue in a big park? And can it continue against arguably the best pitching team that is here in Omaha and Coastal Carolina? Like we said, 53-11, 7.5 runs per game on average this year. They can hit, but they just don't need to. They're only allowing 3.5 runs per game on average this year. A team ERA of 3.26. Very, very good baseball team. You saw what they did. Went to Auburn in the Super Regional, won the first 2 games and out of there. Coastal Carolina does not mess around. So how do we see it playing out? Well, I've got Oregon State winning it, at least in terms of winning this side of the bracket. I think that Oregon State gets past Louisville in game 1. I think Coastal Carolina gets past Arizona in game 1. I think Oregon State takes game 2. That would be game 3 against Coastal Carolina, and we'll see about Arizona and Louisville when we get there. But I do see this side of the bracket playing out of Oregon State and Coastal Carolina battling to see who goes to the National Championship Series. So that's how I see it playing out. Our picks, Coastal Carolina money line and Oregon State money line. Parlay those two together, plus 135. As well as Louisville and Oregon State. That first game, we're going to take the over of 10. Now, we'll continue with picks throughout the weekend, but obviously, we only have lines for Friday's 2 games and Saturday's 2 games. So we'll obviously adjust on the fly as this tournament goes. Okay. So those are our 2 picks for the left side of the bracket. Now, the right side. All right. Same process. 4 teams playing essentially in a regional. Double elimination to determine who plays in the National Championship Series. So we have UCLA. We have Murray State. Those 2 will play against each other in the first game on Saturday. And then LSU and Arkansas. Okay. So here's the deal. I think Arkansas is the best team in the country. I think they can do it all. Let's take a look at the stats here and break these teams down. All right. UCLA, 47-16 record, 8.1 runs per game, 4.6 runs per game allowed, team ERA of 4.41. So essentially UCLA games have been 8-4, 8-5. Murray State, 45-15 record on the season, 8.7 runs per game they score. That's how they've gotten here. 5.7 runs per game allowed, 5.19 ERA. All right, again, Murray State, very similar to Arizona. Do their bats stay hot? Not that they can't pitch. We're not saying that at all. But do their bats stay hot? And against especially a team like UCLA, who has been that dude. You know what I mean? Like, it's been their bats. Nobody's been able to stop them. So, well, we'll see, man. Can Murray State, can their pitching hold up? And can their bats stay in the game with UCLA? And then finally, LSU and Arkansas. LSU, 48-15 on the year. 8.1 runs per game. 4.1 runs per game allowed. 3.90 team ERA. LSU could do it all. There's nothing that LSU can't do. They can pitch. They can hit. They're deep. They have it all. This is a national championship team. Now, the difficult part is that they're going up against Arkansas in game 1. Arkansas, 48-13 on the year. 8.7 runs per game this season. 4.0 runs per game allowed, and a team ERA of 3.91. So LSU and Arkansas built very similarly. How do I see this playing out? I have Arkansas winning this side of the bracket. I have Arkansas and Oregon State playing in the national championship. You can see it here. I think it does come down to Arkansas and LSU. That first game is so incredibly important. So incredibly important. I mean, not only for all 4 of these teams, or all 8 of these teams, but for Arkansas and LSU, huge. I have UCLA taking down Murray State in game 1. And then, like I said, essentially, I think this does come down to an Arkansas or LSU matchup to get to the national championship against Oregon State. So that's how I have it playing out. The picks on this side, Arkansas money line in game one against LSU minus 120. LSU and Arkansas over 10 at minus 115. That's game one. And then jump on Arkansas to win the College World Series at plus 200. Go ahead and get that future in now. If it plays out how we believe, that will set us up nicely with money line prices the further that Arkansas goes. So those are our three plays there. We get our other plays on the left side, Coastal Carolina money line and Oregon State money line. Those are both game ones parlayed together at plus 135. And then Louisville and Oregon State over 10 in game one at minus 115. All right. That's it, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope that this helps. And like I said, we'll go through the College World Series, both the weather and picks as we go along after game ones and our futures are in. So best of luck. Let's cash these tickets. We'll see you soon.